Greetings! Thank you for returning to this channel. My name is Lexi if you're new here. Today's video is a little bit different and we are in a different spot of my house. As you can see, I have moved my two bookcases together. I am moving furniture around. With income tax return, I'm going to get a sectional count, so I'm super excited for that. But as you saw in my previous video, I am recently single, so with that I have more time to read and do art and go to the gym and record videos. So I thought I would try to combine all of that into a new series because I do want to start reading a bit more. Sorry. It's kind of warm in here. Alright, so this video is going to be going over this book here. It's kind of a review. I'm going to try to be spoiler free. I've been watching a few videos on spoiler free book reviews, so hopefully I have this down. This is the first book in a series. It's from Holly Black called The Cruel Prince, as you can obviously see. The prequel to it is actually dropping January 8th, which is for me right now tomorrow. I hope I can get this video done and edited and uploaded by tonight, but probably I'll upload it on Wednesday, but we'll see. With new video ideas and stuff like that, I might try to upload more than just Wednesday, so we'll see. But let's get into this video. So this book came out, I do believe, early 2018. I've seen several different covers for this book, so I'm not sure. I really do like this cover. I think it's very intriguing. Sorry. This is not my first Holly Black book that I've read. The first book I've read was Tithe. That word is so hard for me. I know I should master it because it's such an important word in the fairy community. So, but I think for me, because I'm German, it does kind of like, I want to pronounce it differently than it is. And I read it in German, so I want to get it again in English and read it like that. But, so this here is the second Holly Black book that I've read, and oh my god, I love this book. I'm going to explain to you why I love this book in just a moment. Holly Black, she is an author, #1 best-selling, but she does, I think the majority of what she does is young adult books, which is great. And the Tithe series was, I don't know how many it was, but I know there's at least 2 books, so I need to get the English book and read 1 and 2 just to, get that out of my system. But this here, obviously, it's going to be at least a 2-parter. So this book here, let me read you the synopsis. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. It came out earlier in 2018. And it has been popping up for me everywhere on Pinterest, on Instagram, and it's like, I really didn't enjoy Tithe as much as I thought I would. I think it was my first, like, fairy story that isn't like a fairy tale. So, I liked a lot of parts of it, but as a whole, I was like, I don't know. So I do want to reread it. But this one here I loved, and it came out early 2018 if I'm not mistaken, and my friend suggested to start a little book club, and so I got mine in October, and I think I started reading it, let's see. Okay, I got this October 6th, and I think I was done with it at the end of the month. Like, I wasn't rushing it because I knew, like, we were doing a book club, so I didn't know if we wanted to, like, do a couple of chapters and talk. And then, but my friend, she got her copy, like, a week before I finished. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna read it, and I made very intensive notes, which I normally don't ever do. I just write down in the book itself. I write down pages that I really like. Like here I have like just two sets of page numbers where I'm like, I really enjoyed what was being said on that page. So yeah, I went and I put notes on here to, you know, go over the book with her, but she still hasn't read hers yet, and so I was done with this by October, and I'm picking up the new book tomorrow and gonna start on it really soon. Okay, so this book here, let me read the synopsis. Okay. Guard your mortal heart. Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous high court of Fairy. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, despite her mortality. But many of the Fae despise human, especially Prince Cardan, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. To win a place in the court, she must defy him and face the consequences. As Jude becomes more deeply embroiled in palace intrigues and deception, she discovers her own capacity for trickery and bloodshed. But as betrayal threatens to drown the courts of Fairy in violence, Jude will need to risk her life in a dangerous alliance to save her sisters and Fairy itself. From #1 New York Times bestselling author Holly Black comes the first book in a stunning new trilogy filled with twists and enchantments, as one girl learns the meaning of true power when she finds herself caught in a web of royal fairy intrigue. So that sounds so good, and the book was so good. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I could have finished this book like a lot faster, but honestly, this is the first book that I've read in years. And as you can see, I like books. I love books. I love stories, but I just wasn't motivated to read them. And I have a lot of books that I need to read and I just haven't. So now with me being single, I am definitely going to start reading more, and I'm going to share, I'm going to try to do reading vlogs, and I'm going to share those with you and then reviews. And if you like this, I would totally be up for like more of a discussion video. I'm not sure, I haven't watched those, but as you can tell, I've made notes, so I can talk about it. So this book here, one thing I do have to say, the reason why I love this is she represents fairies for what they are. They are not human. They are dangerous. They are cruel. You know, they are kind of inhumane in a way. And that's, you know, when people that don't really get into fairy tales and fairy stories, they think of Tinkerbell, and they think like, oh, well, you know, she gets a little angry and she's cute when she's angry. But when it comes to like more fae stories, you know, or if you look at old folklore, fairy tales, you see that fairies are not fate, trust, and pixie dust. You know, they are more violence, deception, yeah, it's just, it's very, yeah. And this book it's a perfect example. And the way she writes the story, like, I think the writing was good. I'm not, like, I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, the writing, ha ha ha, because I'm not into the whole grammar thing. Like, if it reads well, I'll read it. I just, the other day, well, it's been a few weeks, we didn't have a whole lot to work on Saturdays, so I went and found the book Faustus, Dr. Faustus from Christopher Marlowe. It was his rendition of The Legend from Germany, and that one was a little harder to read, but I like Shakespearean style writing, so I did enjoy that. But this one here, as a German, I was able to read this just fine. There wasn't any words where I'm like, ooh, I don't know what that means. Okay. This book shows you how beautiful the fairy world is, how lush and just, it's like, it's a dream world. But the people that live there are not like, I like the way she describes some of the creatures. You know, you can look at them as beautiful, or you could look at them as different, maybe even grotesque, you know, if that's not your thing. Or, you know, they could look like monsters to you. But to me, like, I love fairies. You know, I love bad fairies. I love good fairies. I like different fairies. So to me, when she was describing them, I was like, so awesome to me. Oh my god, I sound like a total ballet girl. I thought it was really interesting how she described them. And I like that she actually uses, like, you know, green skinned fairies and blue skinned fairies and fairies with webbed fingers and stuff like that. Fairies with wings, fairies with no wings. And like the characters in here, like, they have little flaws. You know, they're like, yes, they are super pretty, but they have like tiny little flaws, you know? Where, you know, for us humans, you know, it's like, that's weird. But, you know, when it comes to fairies, to me, it's still like they are flaws, but I don't think they're really flaws. Like, I like horns. Like, horns and scars I think are beautiful. Now if a human naturally had horns, that'd be a little weird. I'd probably still like it because, I mean, I like horns. But anyway, so this book is very... The violence in this world is a lot. And Jude and her sister Taryn, they are straight up humans. So for them, it's very dangerous. And the fairies that they are raised with, you know, not just from the court, that are like her age, or... I don't remember, okay, it's been 2 months since I read this book, but I don't remember how, if she says how they age. Because I know the High King has been like a king for like centuries. So I don't know, like do they hit like 30 years and then all of a sudden they start aging slower? I don't think that was explained in here, which it leaves you up to your imagination, which I like that. But okay, more about the book. So the fairy kids she's raised with, they are very cruel to her and her sister. They are bullies, and this is very extreme. Again, this is fairies we're talking about. These are not humans. So for them, they have, like, they don't like humans. Or some of them hate humans. They want to see humans burn. Okay? And then you have the ones that are like, eh. But there's so much bullying, and it's so dangerous because the fairies, they are immortal. So for them, it's like, ha ha ha. What are you doing, Tiger? You know, for them, it's like just playing around, you know, just roughhousing. But for the humans, for Jude and Taryn, there's a few times where it's like, oh my word. Like, it's very triggering. Very triggering. Like, I was not expecting Holly Black to go there. It does give you a very honest and cruel look at fairy world. So that's why I love it. It's not, you know, oh yeah, fairies are dangerous until you get to know them, then they're your best friend. Like, no, fairies are not humans. They are dangerous. You have to be careful what you say. You have to be careful what you eat. You have to be careful what you do, you know? And that is what this book brings you. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, we all hear the stories about, you know, don't listen to the fairy music. Don't step into the fairy ring. Don't eat fairy fruit, you know? So that, she has all of that in this book. Of course, you know, in her own little ways. Let's see what else. This book is very politics. You have, you know, the teenager that is struggling with her emotions, you know, because, no spoiler alert, it's in the synopsis. She she witnessed her parents get murdered by some crazy, creepy fairy dude. So, and then he ends up raising her. So, it's been so long, so she kind of is starting to have, like, family feelings. You know, it's like, oh, he's kind of my stepdad, so I kind of love him. But he also killed my mother and my father, so, you know, like, if I were in a position where I could save him or let him die, what would I do? You know? But she also has the fairy family that comes with that, and she has a little stepbrother. I mean, even though it's really not stepbrother, because I think his name was Maddox was not anywhere her father. And then she has a third sister. She has a twin sister, which they're both humans, and then she has a half sister, which was the reason Maddox killed the mother, because the mother ran away with the daughter, which was Vivi. And so she has fairy looks, but she kind of blended into the human world. And so Vivi, she doesn't like fairyland at all. Like, she wants to go into the human world. That's where she was raised, so she wants really nothing to do with fairyland. But then you have Jude and Taryn, which they weren't really in human land so long, so they grew up with fairies, so they love it. But they know they are different, and they know it's dangerous, so they're just like, they have this struggle. You do see the relationship between Jude and Taryn, and where Jude is more like, she wants to rebel, like she wants to deserve the right to beat her. Like, she wants to prove them, like, hey, you guys are not better than me. I know I'm not your equal, but I can be just as good as you are. Like, she's determined. And Taryn is more like, you know, I don't want to upset them. I just want to blend in. I want to find somebody to marry me and let them protect me. So that's one of the things where they're very different. Like, she's more like, I want to prove myself. I want to stand up to them. I want to, you know, I want to be equal, even though I know I never will be equal because I'm human and they're fae. But she's more like, she's pushing the envelope, and her sister is more like, you really need to tone down. So you have that going, and there's really there's a really big betrayal right there. And that one is like, you kind of saw it coming, but you kind of didn't. Like, the way she wrote that, it was very good, because first I'm like, oh, I bet you that's what's gonna happen. And then a couple of pages further, I'm like, no. And then, yep, that's precisely what happened. So that was very intense. And the book is very political, because she learns about strategic stuff from Maddox. You know, he teaches her all that stuff, and she learns how to fight. But then she also gets sucked into court intrigue. Like, she works for somebody in the court, but her stepdad doesn't know about it. So it's like, you get all these like tangled webs, and you're like, oh my word. And one thing I like about the story is, one of her human features makes her very valuable to the fairies, and it's something that you kind of it gets played on in the book. And I don't want to give it away because I've never thought of it. So to me, that one was really great. Like, oh, I did not know that. I did not know that. Like, I know when it comes to fairy, they are very, I mean, fairies like riddles. They like words. So you have to be careful what you say to fairies. But Holly Black gives you a little bit more words like, oh, that's never crossed my mind. That's a good idea. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. But this book ended with like 2 big bangs. I was not prepared for the first Big Bang, and then I was not prepared for the second Big Bang. Like, when you read the title, The Cruel Prince, and then you meet Cardan, which is like the seventh son of the Fairy King, and you're just like, oh yeah, okay, he's the cruel prince, we get it. But then at the end, it's like, what? Okay, that is crazy. So now I'm like I want to read it again. That's how good it was. But now my gears are turning, and it's like, how is she gonna continue with this? You know, it was absolutely a fabulous read. Let's see, there is 370 pages, and like, I mean, it looks normal. So if that's something that, I don't like reading books that have tiny print. And let me just show you. This is how all the chapters begin. I think it's really cute. So this one, oh, and let me show you how the book looks like without the cover, because I think that also looks very pretty. Isn't that awesome? I love it. So yeah, I'm picking up the new book tomorrow. I cannot wait to read it. This book, if you want to read a real fairy story, you know, nothing cute, pink, fluffy, glittery. If you want to read about fairies getting so drunk that they're just ripping fairy wings out of lesser fairies, then this is the book for you. I highly enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I think it was such a good read. It was interesting. It was new. Of course, people are like, oh yeah, it's fairies that are mean and ugly and violent. Oh yeah, we've seen it. Well, yes, there has been plenty of stories, but it's not a very common thing, you know. It's like, when people still think about fairies, they think about Tinkerbell. So the more books we have where fairies are portrayed as dangerous and cold, I love those kind of stories, because that's how fairies. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have read the book. Let me know if you are picking it up. Most importantly, tell me if you have read a book about fairies that you think I would enjoy. The last fairy book I read was The Court of Thorns and Roses. I never finished the third book. I need to read it. I keep being told I need to read Mercedes Lackey, but I still haven't. So if you have any fairy book recommendations, please put them down below. I know of Throne of Glass and something like that. I can't remember, but I know that series. Haven't read it yet. I think the next book I'm picking up after The Wicked King is Queen Mab. I've been wanting to read that one, and then I think I might go on to The Enchantment of Crows. I heard that's a fairy story, so I'm going to be getting that. So I am out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my content, please hit subscribe and like and share with your friends, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, bye.